improved. It was coming in, and then GPS came along, and people went, "Oh, hang on, we can do all sorts with this GPS. Let's just have facts with this investment." So there's not much investment into it, and then they discovered that GPS has got some issues. So investment came back into MLS. So it is around. How does it work? Basically, it works by what we call a scan beam time reference system. And what we have is a beam that goes from side to side, transmitted on the ground. Your airplane notes the time. So say you were the aircraft going around, it goes, pop, okay, got that, time. And this is what we call a to scan, and then it comes back with a from scan, click, and it notes the time. So it notes the time between the start of the to scan and when it comes back as a from scan. That gives me an angle, so I know that I'm somewhere on that line. The vertical one works the same, except the beam is going up and down. Your airplane notes the time when it gets hit on and up, and when it gets hit on and down, it goes, okay, that's the slope I'm on, and in which case that's going to put you up there somewhere. So now we've got a line, we know you're somewhere on this line, and then along with that there is a precise DME, and that gives you the distance along that line. So what your aircraft actually gets from this is a fixing space related to the threshold of the runway. So it actually gets a fixing space from this system. So it doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in that beam, provided you're within the appropriate wedge of cheese rather than Christmas tree with it, then your airplane will be able to use that information. What your aircraft does is say, okay, this is where I am, and it will compute a route that it needs to take your airplane in to fly a reasonable path. So your aircraft over there will choose a route to come down, your aircraft over there will choose a suitable route, and over there will choose a suitable route coming here. So every aircraft is going to fly a different route. It will fly the most expedient route to get to where it needs to be. So this is one of the great advantages of the system. You're not positioning everybody out there then to fly this straight line down the ILS. You can come in from virtually anywhere and pop back in. So we're saving money and we're saving time. And it makes it easier for the air trafficker because they're not having to push everybody out to that slope. You can pull them in from wherever they're coming from. So a pretty good system.
Is configurated. Is there any difference between different airports? I mean, if the angle is not the same, or does the MLS in the receiver in the aircraft has to configure it for different airports?
Well, it's related to the runway, so it's basically doing that and giving you a reference like a fixing space, but I said a fixing space related to that threshold, if you like. So you know where you are relative to the threshold, so it will work in wherever you are, really, because it just says that's where you are relative to the threshold.
I mean, if you go a bit further, if the beam go a bit further in one airport, so then
they're all the same in terms of side to side, which I'm going to put up in a moment. So it is SHF. So what's the mode of propagation? Line of sight. It can only be line of sight for SHF. It has a lot more channels, where ILS was limited between the 108 and 112 at every 50 kilohertz, whereas this is spread out more channels. We've got two things, azimuth and vertical guide, so you've got two antennae, but rather than having separate frequencies that we had, they use the same frequencies, and what we're doing is giving each one a set time in which to transmit. So we're taking it in turns to transmit. We have this time reference scan beam system, so that's how it works. And that's the word I was looking for when I was talking about we share the time. It's multiplexing. And of course, there can be other data. Have you put the ATIS on there, for instance? And we also use a precise DME. Now, before I forget, there's an issue with the DMEs. And it's the same with ILSs, so it's MLS, ILS, same issue. We haven't done DME, but DME work on a timing system, and they have a time delay before they respond. These DMEs on airports are often rigged with the time, such that if you're anywhere on that circle, your DME reading in the flight deck will be 0, because this DME has been designed for you to fly and approach to that side or that side. That's why it's in the middle, and when you are here, it's telling you you're at the threshold. Clearly, if you're coming from that direction, when you're here, it will tell you that you're at the DME. And clearly, you're not. You could be a mile and a half away. And I'm saying this because I know there's a question asking, do you understand this principle? It's quite possible. Because it's only designed to be accurate if you're flying approaches to that particular strip. Okay, so we don't have a Christmas tree, but we have a wedge of cheese. So 40 degrees either side, so a bit wider than the ILS. And 20 degrees upper limit. Wow. That's a lot, isn't it? And 0.9 of a degree up from the ground for the lower limit. The wedge goes out to 20 nautical miles. Okay, so it's got an antennae. No need to say any more than that, really. Pretty much in the same position as they are for the ILS. Yeah, because they need to be. That's where they need to be. I wouldn't waste too much time worrying about the details of these scans. Okay. But it's scanning a lot faster backwards and forwards than I scan. It needs another one. So there are two. So the advantage of these systems stays insensitive to the geographical sighting. So we don't have the scalloping and beam bending, supposedly, excuse me, that we might have got with ILS. And we can isolate segments of this approach, because basically you just stop transmitting in that segment, and then that segment is like a, it's not a usable segment because there's no transmission there. Maybe use where ILS is restricted, so maybe you can't get the aerials in or something less sensitive to multipath signals, shadowing from aeroplanes, bouncing off other stuff, so less problems with it. But the great advantages are here. You can fly curved approaches from any direction. So you're not having to fly all straight down the same line. That's the big thing. Huh? Why did they stop installing them? Because GPS was deemed to be cheaper. So relatively low cost, I go, yeah, relative to what? I don't know. And that's MLS. So not very much. And